3 here's scheduled for today. She's the only one that of today's that hasn't actually already lambed. They've just gone over the last couple of days, and these ones are scheduled for tomorrow, which means any time now. Number 5, this one. Last year she had a pair of twin ram lambs, and actually your daughter is in here. Oh, right there. That's your daughter, eh? And she might just about be my top ewe. We'll see how she goes on this lambing, but she is trying her hardest to be at the top of my flock. Just a normal looking, solid, hard working ewe. G'day everyone, it's Calvin here from Shedding Sheep New Zealand. I don't keep misfires. Now I call them misfire. I'm a mechanic as well, so I fix cars and bikes and farm equipment and that sort of stuff. And I have my sheep and I have a dairy grazing farm as well. But that's why sometimes I use mechanical terms for my livestock. But every now and then with the livestock, I get a misfire. It might be a lamb born too small, or in this case, it was a ewe that didn't want to have her lamb. It started off in the day, number 103 was just looking for lambs around the paddock. She couldn't seem to make up her mind that she hadn't lambed yet. And she kind of wanted lambs, but kind of didn't want lambs. Right, well we'll see here this morning, which you can't see, but I can feel, is there's not a frost, but it's also incredibly cold. There's a wind chill running across my paddock. We've got those 4 left to lamb. And this one over here making 5, because she crawled through the fence. So here is an excellent example of what happens in small paddocks, what can happen in small paddocks. This little lamb is paying attention to this ewe. That lamb doesn't belong to that ewe. That ewe is about to start lambing, which we'll show you, or she's starting lambing. That lamb there, see, she's getting bunted away. She's disturbing, she's upsetting this ewe. Her mum's down here. Let's see, mum. You see this ewe is quite distressed. You can actually see there's a bit of mucus happening at the back end, and she's got this lamb while she's trying to do her own lambing that's causing problems. Come here, baby. Hey, good here, mum. You're getting too fast for me to catch already. Hey, fatty. Good here, mum. Good little one. That's it. Stay away. You definitely haven't lambed. Now I thought one of the solutions would be to move her to another paddock. It kind of worked until the weather started rolling in. And there's a solution to the problem. There's another ewe in this paddock, so she should settle down, pop out her lambs, away from the distraction of those other lambs. Fingers crossed. With the weather totally packing it in, we ended up in the shed. And the problem that we started with at the beginning of the day continued. And the problem was, this ewe wasn't interested in lambing. She had a lamb hanging out the back end, and she was still more interested in finding other lambs than what was happening out the back end. Yeah, that's not good. First one. And this girl won't be with me late next year, will you? Let's hope that lamb's still alive. Now I'm normally quite cautious on whether I will pull a lamb out. This decision was easy to make. There was a lamb that didn't have a swollen head yet, but it was cold in the mouth. It was coming out, and it was the lightest, smallest of pulling to get this lamb out of 103. But nevertheless, it was still pulling of a lamb. Right, it took me about 30 seconds to get that lamb out of that ewe. But regardless, I did actually have to pull a lamb out of this ewe last year as a hogget. And I forgive them as a hogget. And this is the first one that's come back in the next year. And meant I've had to pull a second lamb out a second year. It is a massive, massive ewe lamb. So, really sad, but she will get a cull tag immediately. And this ewes, I think she might have had a ewe lamb from last year, and I don't normally keep them if I've pulled them, but I know it is still out there. So that will be culled as well. So because of this incident tonight, 3 sheep will be leaving. It's a lovely big ewe lamb. And you see how it's very, very yellow? It's well overdue. If these lambs stay in too long, their heads will start to swell up. And this little lamb, I've checked this ewe a couple of times tonight. You can see I am in the shed because it's a bit wet and cold happening. There's a cold breeze coming through. So I brought the ewes into the shed. This ewe has been in the process all afternoon. So I did note her about 4 o'clock, and it's now after 9, so it's 5 hours. So she had a little bit of mucus out the back, and then I've come out about half an hour ago. We had a pair of feet and a nose, and then I've come out and there's been a head, and I've checked the temperature of that lamb in the mouth, finger in the mouth, and it was cold. So I'm not giving her the choice. If I've made the wrong decision and I cull a good ewe, then I cull a good ewe. But I'm not having sheep that I have to pull lambs out of. That lamb is huge. It's going to be 6 kilos, I'd say. We'll wait in the morning, see what it's like. Moderate assistance, sure. It was still not voluntary. I didn't do it because I just had other things to do. It needed to be done. Otherwise there was going to be issues. I wasn't taking the risk of losing a lamb. So unfortunately for 103, it's end of her time in my flock. And in this case, I'm going to make the really hard decision to cull the lamb as well. I will find a non-breeding home for that lamb, and the chances of this condition of just not focusing on having a lamb, not pushing, not bothering, is minutely inheritable. It's a small chance of it happening. However, because 103 was a repeat offender, I've made the decision that I'm not going to take that risk, and I'm not going to subject someone else to that risk. So the lamb will be going to be a lawnmower somewhere. It'll be a lovely little ewe lamb. Or it'll go in the freezer for someone. That's just the way it is. But it'll be a lovely lamb, and hopefully it'll be a lawnmower. Don't know. We will see what happens as time goes by. I've just been sitting watching the progress of this ewe and the lamb. Now this ewe's not the friendliest ewe out there, but she's really focused on her lamb. She was definitely ready to lamb. You can see by the way the lamb's all yellow, and she was inquisitive and mothering or talking to lambs around the paddock today, as I showed earlier. And the fact that she came in the shed isn't really ideal, but that lamb wasn't coming out. You can see the size of that lamb. And it doesn't mean that she's a bad mum or a bad ewe as such, but a sire selection is incredibly important for this particular ewe, because she's got a trait that she struggles to have those bigger lambs, but she does grow very good lambs, and she's held her condition okay over the winter. So nature would either make it so that lamb wasn't born, or this ewe didn't survive the birth. She'd get hung up, lamb stuck inside, you'd lose both of them. So we don't want that. And so people think I'm a bit harsh when I say, well, that ewe will be leaving. And it is kind of harsh, and it's really hard at times when she's quite a young ewe. She's a 2-year-old, rising 4-tooth now. And I spent quite a lot of time getting that ewe and looking after her and getting her up to this state. And to find that she's just not going to work for what I'm trying to do. Chances are if I put her to the little Dorper ram, she'd have no problems, because the lambs would be littler, be smaller. But I know I'm pushing the limits of my size. But look at all these other lambs from ewes that have had them without problems. And that ewe over there is, 5.7 kilos. So I think this one's going to be bigger. This ewe, 12 kilos total between 2 lambs. And that may actually be my top ewe right there. Just a plain looking sheep, but just doing fantastic. And I've got to stop looking away. So that's why I make these decisions, and I'm trying to improve quite rapidly to get my flock up to a state of very good sheep. Now this lamb has taken 20 minutes to stand up. And what I'm finding with these lambs is they're incredibly fast to stand up and get on their feet and looking for a drink. It won't be long, that'll have a drink. It'll be less than half an hour. It's a huge thing. We'll wait in the morning, and I'll let you know what it weighs at. Hope that helps. You see that decisions have to be made. Sometimes they're hard decisions, and sometimes it's not best to keep these misfires, because I do sometimes talk to people with small lifestyle blocks, and they've got 3 or 4 sheep, and every year they get 1 lamb and 4 disasters, and that's really unfair on the people, and it's unfair on the sheep. We shouldn't put poor sheep in a situation where they are highly likely to fail. I think we've got a responsibility to try and minimise that, and this is my way of doing so. Hope that's been helpful. Talk to you again soon. Catch you later.